From Oklahoma City University, it's the 2012 USA Wrestling Junior National Duels, the Greco final between the number 1 seed Illinois and the number 2 seed Michigan. Illinois wearing the red singlets, Michigan in the blue. First match at 100 pounds for Michigan is Camden Bertucci. He's a sophomore, second place in state at 103. And a pleasure to be joined by Don Reynolds from Illinois. Don, who do you guys have for Illinois? Tell us about your 100-pounder.
We've got Jabari Moody leading off. He is a returning cadet national championship. He wrestled on both of the cadet national championship dual teams last year, both Greco and freestyle.
2 weeks ago in Daytona Beach, Florida, Illinois beat Minnesota to claim the Greco title and lost a tight one to Pennsylvania in the freestyle championship. That is 3 for Bertucci, and Bertucci now with Moody on his back, and Michigan could use a 5 spot out of the gate. This Illinois team, state and national accolades up and down the lineup. So I think it's really important for Michigan to get a good start. Momentum is a crazy thing, build confidence. And this would be huge for Michigan. And Michigan gets a pin at 100 pounds from Camden Bertucci. And a good start for the boys in blue. Big crooked 5 spot on the board for Michigan as Bertucci gets them off on a great start. Next up at 106 is Taylor Tickner. He'll be a senior, 47-7 this past season. From Saline High School in Michigan. And down, who do we have for Illinois at 106?
We've got Jabari Moody's older brother, Nkosi Moody. He was a junior national champ last year and again wrestled on our junior dual team national champs last year.
In the semifinals, Illinois beat Wisconsin. And Michigan beat the number 3 seed Minnesota. That was a good battle. And Illinois on the board just 10 seconds in. Here at 106 pounds, 1-0. And 2 more on the gut for Moody. And he leads it 3-0. Tickner, a freestyle and Greco state champion in Michigan. And the key here for anybody stepping inside that circle, priority number 1 is you got to find a way to get a point. Every point, every position is going to matter. Talk about it all the time. Got to battle every single position. Got to find a way to score a point. And Illinois does a phenomenal job at keeping their opponents off the board. Illinois lost to Wisconsin 2 years ago in this Greco final, and Illinois returned the favor against Wisconsin last year. Another point for Moody. Out in front, 4-0, looking for a tech. He's got it, a 6-0 first period tech for Moody. Of course, if you're Moody right now, got to get greedy, but at the same time, you got to maintain good position. Can't get too crazy. And these guys are very well coached. Mike Powell, Brian Medlin, there for Illinois. And when you want to describe Illinois, it's position, position, position. This is my first time seeing Michigan this tournament, but I've seen Illinois a little bit more frequently. See a lot of their guys at the duels and also always very well represented in Fargo. And Moody has Tickner on his back. That's going to be feet to back for 3. Got it at 2. And now Moody looking for a pin. He's got him in a tight headlock. Trying to tie this one up at 5. Going to settle in plenty of time, still a minute and a half as he readjusts. And there is the pin for Moody at 106. Michigan a pin at 100. Illinois one at 106. And we're tied up at 5 as we head to 113. Plenty of fireworks after 2 weight classes. Up next at 113 for Michigan is Mitch Rogaliner. He'll be a senior at Bedford High School. And at 113, Don, who does Illinois bring to the party?
From Marist High School, we've got Mark Duda. Mark was a place winner at the high school state tournament this year for Marist, and he was a place winner last year in Fargo.
Rogaliner and Duda here at 113. Rogaliner was a state champion as a freshman in Division I at 103. As a sophomore, was a runner-up at 103. And this past season, with a record of 49-2, captured the Michigan State title in Division I, moving up to 112 pounds. No score, 30 seconds in. And this one goes back and forth, and now Rogaliner's got Dude on his back, looking for another pin, and we have one. 3 weights and 3 pins, that one in 56 seconds from Mitch Rogaliner of Michigan. And it's 10-5, and this a surprise to me. I thought this would be really tight as far as, the individual battles, but that's why they wrestle the matches and expect the unexpected. That's been the case up to this point through 3 weight classes. Michigan now doubling up Illinois 10-5. At 120 for Michigan is Mike Rojas. John Glenn High School. He'll be a junior. 37-7 this past season. And for Illinois,
we've got Kevon Powell from perennial powerhouse Montini Catholic. He's been a previous state champion and several-time state place winner.
Rojas and Powell. Seen Powell a few times at the Cheesehead in Kaukauna. Montini Catholic Power there in Lombard, Illinois. Rojas, a state Greco champion. He was 3rd at Michigan State freestyle tournaments. 3 weights and 3 sticks. Illinois in the red, Michigan in the blue. Wrapping up Greco here tonight. Back at it tomorrow with freestyle. The freestyle final will be 7 o'clock on Saturday night. Here's the slated start time here from Oklahoma City. No score. A minute 10 in. We're 20 seconds away from parterre. And Powell gets the point. Nice transition. 2-0 looking for another gut. And now Powell, for a second there, he had Rojas on his back. Inside of 20 seconds, scoreboard reads 4-0 for Kevon Powell of Illinois. Tack on another, and now it's 6-0. Powell gets the tech in the first period. That match that Michigan had against Minnesota in the semis, that was great battle, a lot of intensity, a lot of emotions. That one was physical, to say the least. But in the end, Michigan too tough. It wasn't decided until Kuna, Michigan, Pinstola, Minnesota. Two of the top heavyweights in the country. And Powell had Rojas on his back. Once again, Rojas able to roll through. 1-2, 3-0 score. Powell behind for another tally, 4-0. Powell, trap arm gut, trying to pop his hips, roll through, give him a tech. Powell looking to give Illinois a 4 spot, and of course, if you're Rojas right now, find a way to score a point. And if at all possible, don't get teched. Big difference between 14 points to 0 and 3-1. 50 seconds. Powell 2-on-1. Nice shot there from Rojas, but Powell is so strong, throws him to his back and gets the fall. And I haven't seen quite anything like this. 4 straight pins. 2 for Michigan, 2 for Illinois. Back and forth they go, and again, we're knotted up this time at 10. If you had the Vegas over in this one, you're in pretty good shape. 126, Jacob Schmidt. He'll be a senior. Goes to St. John's in Michigan. 48-2 this past season. State champion at 125. Was a runner-up as a sophomore and a state title as a freshman. And who do we have for Illinois, Don?
We've got David Pierce from Civic Memorial down in Southern Illinois. He's a multiple-time Illinois place winner.
Schmidt, a couple years back, Greco Cadet National Champion. Was also a freestyle runner-up in Fargo. All-American at Field Juniors. And Pierce, 1-0. Traps the arm. And pops through for 2 more, 3-0. Like any sport, it's all about opportunities and got to capitalize. And these guys are always thinking about scoring points. You can't just settle for one. If you have an opportunity to go right into a gut transition, make quick work of it. And I think that's just one of the keys that separates the good guys from the great wrestlers. Inside of a half a minute here in this first period. Takedown at a gut for 2 as Pierce out in front of Schmidt, 3-0. Short time. Now 4-0, trying to gut him for 2 more. Can he get the exposure? And time just runs out. I believe they ruled that a slip. Scoreboard said 3-0. So first period goes to Pierce. Minnesota and Wisconsin wrestling for third. And here we go at the second period. If this would go to parterre, Illinois in the blue would go on top. And Illinois taking that first period 3-0. This is where they are just so tough. A lot of hand fighting. There's a drag from Pierce. And Pierce, 1-0 here in the second. Expect Schmidt to pick the pace up a little bit. I was mistaken. Got these two guys mixed up. My apologies. It is 1-0 for Schmidt, and he took the first period 3-0. My mistake. 20 seconds. Illinois in the red, Michigan in the blue. Final seconds. Armsman attempt there from Pierce. But Schmidt of Michigan will get the decision and able to keep Pierce off the board. So 3 for Michigan. Illinois will have to stick at 10, so 13-10 Michigan. .126 Ken Bade for Michigan. He'll be a senior. Two-time state champion. He's a freestyle state champion as well in Michigan. And how about for Illinois?
We've got Zane Richards. He was a runner-up in Junior National Greco last year, and he was a Junior National Freestyle champ. Several-time state champ. He'll be wrestling for Jim Heffernan down at University of Illinois.
Good battles here in the lower weights. This one moving right along with the pins. No score, 35 seconds in. Bade goes to Detroit Catholic Central, wrestles for Mitch Hancock. Was 50-1 this past season. Talking to Coach Beasley, Michigan, said this team is super excited, want to come out here, compete, get some momentum, and just feed off the energy. But happy to be here and proud of the tournament they've had. Seconds from parterre. And Richards will go on top. And Richards, quick gut for 2. Back to our feet, 14 seconds. And Richards with that gut from parterre takes the first period 2-0 as he makes his way over to Coach Powell and Coach Medlin. Coach Powell Head coach at Oak Park River Forest, Brian Medlin, believe he's at Washington High School. And second period. No surprise once again, but a hot one here in Oklahoma City. Temperatures 100 degrees and higher. Richards front headlock and scores the point. Richards here, if he's able to keep Bate off the board, we'd be tied at 13. This one just going back and forth. Illinois and Michigan exchanging punches here in these lower weight classes. And Richards just going to stay in great position, hand fight, stay right center of the mat in that small circle. Extremely intelligent. Had the chance to see him these past couple of years, and he is cerebral to say the least. Smart kid. Great mat awareness, knows the situation. Just consistent. 35 seconds. Richards taking the first period 2-0, up 1-0 here in the second. Bay doing all he can to get on the board, but tough to get past the hands of Richards. Final 15 seconds. You know, Bade right here, if he's able to score a point, he'd be on the board, he'd take the period. So, be huge for Michigan, but not going to happen. Zane Richards, 3-0 or 2-0, 1-0 for Illinois. And it's 13-all. At 138, Josh Pennell. He'll be a senior at St. John's for Michigan. Taken third a couple of times and also a runner-up finish at the Michigan State Tournament. Greco All-American in Fargo. And how about for Illinois?
We've got Jake O'Mara. He'll be a senior at Oak Park High School. He was a member of last year's cadet dual national championship team.
O'Mara with a 2-on-1. Dumps him. That's 3 for O'Mara. And back to their feet with a minute 22. Illinois has yet to lead this duel. Michigan pin at 100, then Illinois pin at 106. Michigan a pin at 113, Illinois a pin at 120. And right now, Michigan with Pennell. He's back into this match, pulls himself to within a point. Now we're tied, 2-1, 3-3. At the 2 exposure, kept him in danger for the 5 count for the extra point. Schmidt set at 126, victorious, and then Zane Richards from Illinois getting the W at 132, just going back and forth. And there's 3, now a 6-3 score. Pinnell, 6 unanswered. And it's the one thing that's fun watching, Greco and freestyle. It can turn on a dime. It turns so quick. You're always in it. Hit a couple of threes, you get a tech. Five-point throw, you get the tech. Anytime you're inside that circle, you are vulnerable and under attack, to say the least. O'Mara with a point, but time runs out on O'Mara from Illinois in the first period, as Pinnell takes the period at 6-4. Glad to have you aboard. Shane Sparks from Oklahoma City University. Junior national duels. Schoolboys and cadets, of course, in the book. Here we are with the junior duels, and before you know it, be in Fargo here in a couple of weeks. Both guys on the board, with Pinnell taking that first period 6-4. And Pinnell able to throw O'Mara to his back. He's got him tight, the slap of the mat. A stick, and 5 more for Michigan. And they lead it 18-13. Man, they have some pinners. That's the third pin for Michigan. Illinois with a pair of their own. Alec Moradian coming up here at 145. Graduated from Detroit Catholic Central, was 4-8-3 this past season. Runner-up at 152 pounds. Captured 3 state championships before that. Career record of 212-4. And who do we have for Illinois?
We've got Zach Pickering. He's also from Oak Park High School, and he was a member of our Cadet National Dual Team Championship team last year.
Moradian, a 2-time Field of Cadet All-American. And he's going to wrestle at Columbia University. Whether it's folk style, Greco freestyle, when you look at duels against good teams, it's summed up pretty simple. You can't get pinned, you can't give up bonus points. And Michigan, with the 3 pins, and their other victory was a decision, but they kept Illinois off the board. Good start as we're about halfway through this duel. 18-13 Michigan. We're 10 away from parterre here at 145 with Moradian of Michigan and Pickering of Illinois. And we'll go to parterre with Pickering going on top in the red singlet. Moradian strong with his parterre defense. Pickering able to pop him through. Gets the pair, leads it 2-0. Moradian strong in his parterre defense for the first 15 of the 30, but Pickering gets him over and gets the period 2-0. No score, 30 seconds into the period. Scoreless through 60 seconds. Just a lot of hand fighting, head fighting, just pushing, pulling, jockeying for position. But no real serious, legit attacks in this period. 15 away from parterre. And Meridian's going to get his chance on top from parterre. You know, big here for Meridian. Again, one of those situations where if you get the points, you get the points and the period. But Pickering, if he's able to avoid going over, he'll get the 2-0 or 1-0 decision and keep Michigan off the board. So, big 30-second situation here. Pickering doing a nice job on bottom. 10 seconds. Final seconds, and Pickering of Illinois gets a big victory. Big victory for Illinois. 2-0, 1-0. 3-4 Illinois. Gives us an 18-16 score. Michigan still up by 2. Up next at 152 pounds, Logan Marsicki. He too from Detroit Catholic Central. He'll be a junior for head coach Mitch Hancock. 41-7 season. State champion. Double Fargo All-American, was second in Greco, 8th in freestyle. And at 152 down for Illinois, who do we have here?
We've got Mitchell Alexander. He was a Greco Cadet All-American out in Fargo.
And joining me here is Andre Metzger. 6 weeks off the Olympic trials at the young age of 52. Talk about that experience. First of all, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Yeah, thanks for having me. But yeah, it was enjoyable. Nice arm spin. Young man attempted an arm spin there. So, but yeah, it was quite an experience. I mean, it was a bummer what happened, but it's the way it is, man. It is what it is. So
pretty impressive, though, to keep with the sport that long. What is it about this sport that just keeps you coming back for more?
Well, there's a lot of factors, but I love the sport, and I enjoyed it. But, yeah, I mean, my body's ready, and it's still going, so that's the reason I stay in it. So,
watching this duel so far with Michigan and Illinois, what are a few things that stand out to you?
Well, one, I'm from Michigan originally, so I kind of root for Michigan, but it looks like both of them are pretty strong clubs, man. They're I mean, a little bit leaving their hips back a little bit too much, I think, for Greco. Some of them are upright a little bit more, real susceptible to snap downs, and that's why you're seeing a lot of front headlocks and things like that.
You've been around this sport for many, many years. What are some of the biggest differences you notice now in Greco compared to when you were just bursting out of the scene?
Well, I mean, the biggest difference is there was 9 minutes before, and it was a cumulative score. Now you've got periods for 2-minute periods, so 6 minutes. So that's the biggest part. But also, I think, as far as Greco's advanced because of there's so many people in America pushing it, like Steve Frazier, our national coach, and JJ's in there, and Mamir, and the different coaches that are out there, the OTC, they really are bringing it on. And I think each one of these developmental coaches are doing a heck of a job to develop our sport. It's tough, though. Greco's a different deal because you're only able to touch, upper body, and but yet you're using the legs kind of a lot anyways. The power in the legs are used many, many times.
Going to parterre here. No score after the 90 seconds. Believe we have an attention red. That's on Alexander. Alexander of Illinois up on top. And, what are we looking here for parterre? What are the biggest keys when you're on top trying to turn that guy?
Well, I mean, he just did. He caught the hips and brought him through, so he ends up getting 1 point on the Michigan kid. But that's the main thing, is to secure the person as far as like a gut wrench situation, or if you're going to have the headlock. This potentially, but it isn't going to happen, I don't think. They gave it back to 1 point, so it looks like he's going to win the first period, the Illinois boy.
Illinois takes it 2-0, and you talk about the importance of it. Every single position, every point. I mean, when you're looking at a duel like this, the weight class is being contested. So important to score, but just as importantly, keep them off the board.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest key is to remember what our goal is in this sport is to pin people. So that's what both these clubs have pinned a lot of people I've watched in the finals. So they're definitely trying to secure them down once they get them to their back, and they're not just looking at points. So I think position-wise, they're keeping dang good position, though. They seem to, except see the Illinois kid has more of his hips back, although he's the one that's leading now, so he's wrestling better than the Michigan boy.
Marsicki and Alexander here at 152. Michigan up by 2, 18-16.
Nice snap down right here. This is he's got some potential. Nice drag. Illinois drags him, and hey, this is a heck of a match. These guys are going at it here. I don't know who's going to win this. I mean, Illinois looks like they've got the advantage because he's already up on him 1, but this is going to be interesting coming down the stretch. And, the funny thing is they're not starting them together every time either, though. They're leaving them back, so I'm not sure they're going by all the dang rules that are there. But they change them so often. I mean, shoot, in a 6-month period once, I watched them change 4 rules. So, I mean, it's kind of a tough thing to follow all the rules in this game right now. Greco's really, I think they're trying to make it more exciting, and they need to leave the sport pure. Let these guys wrestle and get at it.
1 minute, 30 away from parterre. And things have tightened up considerably these past few weight classes after some of the early fireworks with the pins.
Yeah, and I'm noticing, the Illinois kids really working the 2-on-1. Those guys are working a 2-on-1 a lot more than anybody else in this tournament that I've noticed. So they're understanding that position. Michigan's got some good snap down ability and seem to have good underhooks, but this kid's got to start pushing it. It looks like they're just going to go parterre. He's going to see if he can't turn him.
Now Michigan with his turn on top, and this is reminiscent of the weight class before this at 145 when we saw Pickering in his parterre defense wins the period 1-0, keeps Michigan off the board, and Illinois with an opportunity to do that again.
Yeah, and it looks like, I mean, this kid's trying to start with the gut wrench, and he's going up to a class position. They all go. It seems to me that they're doing that. I attempted that in the Olympic trials, and they stopped me because they thought I'd choke him. Here he goes with a gut wrench. He's in trouble. He stepped over. That's going to be 2 red. So it looks like the Illinois kid has the advantage here.
Final seconds, and Alexander of Illinois will take this period 2-0 and gets the match, keeps Michigan off the board, and Illinois now with its first lead of the duel as they get 3 to go out in front of Michigan, 19-18. Andre, when you look at Greco, this age level, the junior division, what are some of the positions you think we got to get better at?
Well, I mean, I think top and bottom. I mean, it's obvious. Top and bottom, we've got to get more innovative. We've got to be able to stop them. If you look at like, for instance, here, I think Illinois is stronger on the bottom right now. You can see they're turning Michigan, and then Michigan's unable to turn them. So, yeah, I think top and bottom is probably a key. Our ability on our feet, right? These kids are doing a great job on their feet, but I do think that they've got to get their hips in a little bit more, present themselves. And remember, they can't shoot. And I think that it's accumulation of, us wrestling so many styles. And these kids have probably wrestled at least 2 styles, if not 3. But you got freestyle, then you got collegiate, and then you've got, of course, or you can call it folk style, and then you've got Greco-Roman. And Greco is just such almost a masterful sport because it going upper body, and you've got so many different things that you can hit upper body, but yet it's position's so vital. And this is a nice headlock, potentially. But slip, they should have called that a slip. I'm not sure that's was a point, but they gave it to him. So here we go. He lift, nice lift, his front to back. Boom. They're going to give him one at least. They gave him 3. I'm surprised.
If I remember correctly, this match against Wisconsin, this kid from Illinois had a nice 5-pointer against Nick Becker, kid from Wisconsin that's going to Central Michigan. Just a beautiful throw. For Michigan here at 160, this is Devin Murray from Hudson High School. And Don, who do we got here from Illinois?
Trace Engelkeys. Trace will be wrestling at Northern Illinois, a junior Greco All-American last year.
And it's a tech for Engelkey of Illinois. 7-0.
And you can kind of really tell, like he said, you know, he's taken second in the nationals in Greco. When you specialize in Greco or wrestle it more, you have definitely an advantage. I think these Illinois kids are, you know, they're pretty well versed in Greco. I can see, especially you're seeing it on the top and the bottom. They seem to be a little bit stronger than the Michigan kids. And I shouldn't say are, but you know, of course I live in Oklahoma now, but I'm originally from Michigan. So and they've produced so many great athletes out of that state. I mean, you're looking at the first Olympic champion ever for America in Greco was from Michigan, Steve Frazier.
Second period. What are you looking forward to when you look at this Greco team for the United States in London?
Well, I'll tell you, we just have such a strong team. I think, you know, we've only qualified 6 weights, but they're coming on. We've really got some strong guys. We've got a strong, heavy. Our heavy Chevy, he's tough as heck. Byers is tough. Provisor at 74, my weight, he's tough. He's young. He's kind of inexperienced, but I think he should do well. He just came off beating an Olympic champion, so he'll do well. Mango's strong, one of our lighter weights, and Ellis is a real strong kid. Now he suffered a concussion that kept him out for almost a month and a half, so hopefully the doctors are going to clear him. So. But I think we've got a real strong team, man. I think that we've got a lot of potential to go over there and win it. And with, you know, I mean, we're working hard. Those kids they're going into camp. They're staying there. They're ready to go.
Here at the junior duels, cadet duels a couple weeks back, and then before that in Indianapolis, the schoolboy duels. And you look at these opportunities by USA Wrestling, and so many chances to get better. You know, come out here, wrestle the best kids in the country. And you got to be taking advantage of these kind of opportunities.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes you tougher. I mean, you got to think about it. I look at back when I was wrestling in high school. I wrestled anywhere from about 250 matches every summer. So, I mean, my dad took me everywhere. And it was just, and these things, we didn't have duels. It would have been great to do a duel, too. But, you know, mainly you're going out, you're representing your state, but at the same time, you're representing yourself. And you're out there battling. And the more people you can come exposed to, the more technique you're going to become exposed to, because those coaches that teach these kids, I mean, that's going to kind of, I believe in becoming a sponge of knowledge and a filter of information. We look at everything we can, and once you do, you filter it through and see what's best for you. And your technique, almost a nice duck by the Illinois kid. This he seems to be keeping real good position, inside position. Has a nice hip throw.
And he's going to have, going to say a pin or a tech. He's going to get the tech, so 7-0, 6-0, and right now Illinois with momentum. Give them 4 more. Meanwhile, Michigan stays at 18, 23-18. And right now, Michigan's got to find a way to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's going to be tough. These guys are wrestling good. They got to have a stopper. Somebody's got to step out and do the job. So we'll see what happens here with the Illinois wrestling tough, man. They are a tough club.
Move to 170. Drew Garcia, he'll be a junior, another Detroit Catholic Central kid there with Coach Hancock. 46-3 this past season. State champion at 171. And Don, who do we got for Illinois here at 170?
We've got Ricky Robertson from National Power Carl Sandburg. Ricky was the runner-up last year in Fargo at Greco and the cadet national champ in freestyle.
Garcia and Robertson. Here at 170, Andre Metzger joining us here on the broadcast. And want to ask you, with all your experience, and of course that's what life's all about, you experience and you learn, but what's one thing that you wish you would have knew 20 years ago that you learned with the experience and the maturity on the mat?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a test. That's a real tough question. I think the main thing is to be patient and let things come to you, not forcing certain things. I mean, I look back at some of the old film of me, even in '79 when I placed in the Worlds. I was so aggressive, but yet my position wasn't there all the time. But I'll tell you, that's also a big part of becoming good is you've got to go out there and go at it and sometimes make mistakes. I think of, failure's kind of success turned inside out. So, and the road to success is continually under construction. I think in wrestling, it's never more. I mean, you have got to go out there and forget about the past and try to set somebody up. You might be setting them up 1, 2, 3 levels. And I'll tell you, that's one of the things I noticed because of the newer style or the newer rules. They don't have the type of chain wrestling we used to have where you think 3 or 4 moves in front. These kids are, I've watched it a couple times. I've seen 1 or 2 moves in front of one. If they fail, they stop. So really, that flow has got to be there. But to answer your question, that it would probably be a matter of letting things happen. I mean, for every action, there's a multiple number of reactions, and then you have to react to that. Well, you've got to get good at all those reactions and know what they're going to do.
Garcia doing a nice job. Hard air defense. 7 seconds away from getting the period. Robertson brings him up.
Oh, wow. That was close. They're not going to give him a, but they gave him a point. They blew the point. Good. Well, that's good for me because I'm from Michigan, but good as far as it's tough because he actually went out. So they could have given the other guy a point also because he kind of almost fleed the mat, but yet I didn't think he fleed the mat either. That kid just tried to pick him up with what I call a clasp.
You talked about it that Michigan needs a stopper, and Garcia doing his job in that first period to win it 1-0. When you look back to that run you went on in '79, that's hard to believe over 30 years ago. What are a couple of things that you'll always remember forever with that accomplishment?
Well, in '79, I mean, I won the Pan American Games, and I won I placed really second in the world, but they gave me a third place medal because the Russian threw the match to Bulgarian. Well, I mean, the main key was it was a big level change for me. I stepped up. I took 5th in the country in college ranks, and then went right into the international ranks. But I was so used to wrestling so many foreign people because I'd lived in Japan. So I just enjoyed the moment then too. I mean, I really enjoyed wrestling and got to where I loved the sport through just the purity of it. I mean, it's such a great sport. I love playing judo and with the MMA and the UFC and all those guys that are out there fighting now, well, you look at it and there ain't no doubt we're the toughest people in the world. The wrestlers are the ones that are commanding and taking over that sport too. And if they call it a sport, it's kind of brutal, but I like it too. I think I would have been a great fighter. I would have enjoyed the fight. Who knows? I may do it anyways. I'm getting into it more and more, and I'm helping so many of those fighters right now. So it's interesting. But our sport is this. Greco-Roman really teaches you how to fight because you're pummeling, you're staying upper body, and you're kind of covering and using your legs in a different way.
Action stopped here in the second period. Robertson of Illinois dropped that first period 1-0, but he's on the board, leading it 2-0 here in the second period.
Looks like he's bleeding. The Michigan kid's bleeding is what's happening here. So, but it's a good match, man. This is what a duel, man. It's going to come down to the wire. How many more weight classes we have? Like 3? 4?
Yeah, we're at 170 here, so we got 4 after this.
So 4 more weights. So there's plenty of more points out there. So, and it looks like this is gonna come down to the last minute here with this match here in this period.
And Michigan at heavyweight, they have Kuhn. He's one of their hammers. I think Beasley's coming up yet too for Michigan. So this is, again, I mean, you sound like a broken record, but it's just so true. Every single position, every point is golden, and you got to be. I mean, every one of those positions, you got to fight it. You got to battle it.
Yeah, and you got to stay into your match. It's kind of like I watched that movie, The Hammer, which is Hamlin. the kid that was deaf. And it's so true, man. You go into a zone, and those kids back there right now getting ready, the next kid and the next kid, those 4 other weight classes, it's so vital for them not to get too much into this match. You know, they have to stay into their match. This kid's got to take care of it and give all he's got right now. So the Illinois kid's got a little bit of an advantage right now. Well, I shouldn't say that because Michigan's got one under the belt. So, you know, he's got to come back. He should push real hard to try to score here.
1 minute here in the second period. Robertson leading Garcia here at 170-2-0. Illinois leading Michigan 23-18. Illinois has been on a run. And Michigan and Garcia here at 170 trying to stop Illinois momentum.
Garcia seems to just, I mean, he's not tying up. He's not closing the gap. You know, he needs to close the gap. He's not putting any pressure on this kid. That's not wise. So, you know, he's got to put pressure here. Unless he's attempting to bring him into him for an arm throw or some type of drop. Say, right now he's in any substantial effort that's gonna do anything to hurt this kid. I think this kid's gonna win this period. It looks like to me because now look, this 2-on-1. This is what I'm talking about. Yep. Illinois is controlling the 2-on-1 series on the Michigan kids, and see the Michigan kid's not even trying to underhook. So this period's gonna go to the Illinois kid.
So we'll go to a third period here at 170 as Robertson comes back to take the period 2-0. Obviously, you've spent a lot of time out at the training center in Colorado Springs, and talk about the influence of that opportunity in that environment.
It's amazing. I wish we would have had it when I was younger, but what they do for these kids, the young kids that they bring in, I mean, it's just like when I took off and went to Japan. It just gives them an opportunity to do nothing but train. So when you have that type of an environment, it's incredible with how much you can catch up or get ahead of people. And you're seeing it. I mean, Kaler, a kid that came out of there, ended up making the university games and wins the university, or I don't know if he won the university games, but he made the team. And he really didn't even know Greco until we brought him out there and started training him and doing some things. So I really think it's a great experience. For me, it helped me immensely. I needed it. I had to have it to be able to compete at this level again.
And definitely thoughts with people at Colorado Springs with the fires and stuff going on right now, just devastating pictures and video, and thoughts and prayers with those people. And that's hard to put that into words.
Yeah, it is, and it's amazing because I love it out there. I think it's a beautiful place. I went up to Steve's house and seen his house, and his whole neighborhood's on fire. So it's devastating. And my prayers go out to him too, because man, I hope they can get it under control. It seems to me like there should be something they can maybe put into. I guess Mother Nature's so strong though. There's nothing you can probably do. So, and right now they've just got to stop the fires.
Robertson's come back nice after that first period. And I believe more blood for Michigan. Action stopped here, 53 seconds in this third period. And, Robertson's up 1-0. And, we're going to see that second period again. We're going to see if that Michigan guy can break through. And Robertson, you watch these Illinois guys, you alluded to it, the 2-on-1, and they stay in that little circle. I mean, they don't mess around. The way they maintain position in the center is, you can just tell they spend a lot of time working on that.
Yeah, and you can tell their experience. I mean, you're right. He's controlling position. He's controlling position on the mat too. And right now, Garcia is going to have to lock up. Remember, there were like 4 seconds left in that last period, and Garcia locks up, and really it looked like he had an opportunity to hit a little sag. So it all depends on what he's thinking right now. I mean, I think he needs to go out there and explode and attempt to get this point. If he doesn't, I think Michigan's in trouble in this duel.
Don't want to let a team like Illinois get too far out in front. They're up by 5 at the moment. And a big 53 seconds coming up right here.
You know what's amazing, though, if you look at it, you look at how many, like you've got Iowa being such a strong school, Penn State being such a strong school, and then you come into the junior level and you've got states that don't have that strong a program. I mean, Michigan doesn't have a strong program, and hopefully they get stronger, but at this point they're not that strong. Anyways, you got Michigan and Michigan State in there in Central Michigan, and one of them is the bottom of the Big Ten every year. Michigan stays around the middle of the Big Ten. They're going to have to make a push. But then you got Illinois. I don't think Illinois is even in the top anything, and you've got one of the strongest clubs here. So people are pulling these kids out and putting them into different states. Or I mean, they're recruiting them to different states, whether they go to Oklahoma, whether they go to Iowa, whether they go to Pennsylvania. So, yeah, it's interesting. And see this 2-on-1 right here. I mean, all he needs to do is just control position. I mean, they teach it now, like you talked about the OTC. They teach it. Mimir teaches to stay in there and just basically stay on that 2-on-1. Here we go. Now that he has an opportunity. This kid needs to hit a move. And it looks like he's either got a headlock set up potentially or a body lock he could. And right now he's just leaving his hips back. He's got to get him in.
And that'll probably be the cherry on top. Robertson tacks on another one. And just 9 seconds left. And that was just a workmanlike performance there from Robertson. Just textbook fundamentally sound.
Yeah, and he lost the first period and still came back. He stayed in there, didn't lose any of his composure, stayed in there and just fought, just only picked up 1 point at a time. I mean, I like seeing
their run. They're now up by 8, 26-19 as they move ahead to 182. Here's Kevin Beasley. Man, this Michigan team, Detroit Catholic Central, kid after Detroit Catholic Central. Here's another one. He was 48-1 this past season. State champion with a record of 48-1. He'll wrestle at Old Dominion University. And who do we have here for Illinois?
We've got Sammy Brooks, 2-time state champ for Illinois from Oak Park High School. He was placed at the Cadet Worlds last year in Hungary, and he'll be wearing the blue and gold for the Iowa Hawkeyes next year.
Exactly what you were talking about a little while ago.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, like Coach said, I mean, you're losing them to all these different states, and see, that's the funny thing about college wrestling. Unless you get those coaches in there and you got the right mix, man, it's going to be trouble to try to recruit them. I mean, you've got a recruiting factor, then you've got a development factor, and I think you could develop kids, but it's important to try to get those kids, that kid that really works hard, and ready to go already. So
you look at Beasley, Fila Jr. All-American in Greco, he was 3rd. And Fila Jr.'s in freestyle, he was 6th. So here's one of those matches. You got 2 horses out there. Something's got to give. And right now, obviously being down by 7, more of the pressure's on Beasley in Michigan. But 3-0 Brooks. 55 seconds here in this first period, and he just came out really quickly and set the tone.
Yeah, and I mean, Beasley went out to attempt a headlock right away. I think to me it would have been a slip, but the refs called it one. So, but he came out and he attempted something instead of grinding for position. Illinois is keeping much better position. I mean, you can see it. They're keeping inside or they're keeping the 2-on-1. See, you're seeing the kid go inside every time, and you're looking at the Beasley working over the top. If you look at him, his elbows are out. Kid's controlling position. I mean, it's an important thing. That's how this push out just happened. I mean, he controlled that 2-on-1, brought him to the edge, and the only escape is it Beasley? The only escape Beasley had was to turn out, and when he turned out, he went out of bounds.
5-0.
Yeah, he looks like he's outclassed right now, in my opinion. But that doesn't mean that he can't. If he has some type of move that he can hit on this kid, he better pull it out.
That's the one fun thing with Greco is, I mean, you're always in it, and you see it probably more at the more inexperienced levels where you see somebody, maybe they lock up a gutter and freestyle lace and bang, it's 6-0, and then they come out for that second period. It looks like 2 different kids out there. Things change so quick, and that's what makes it, from a fan standpoint, I think, pretty entertaining.
Yeah, I mean it is, and it's the thing about wrestling is, like I said, the goal is to pin, and boy, you have all that opportunity to pin at any given time. I think that's one thing that's different about our rules. That I mean, you're turning it into a little bit more of a boxing match kind of where you've got the 3 periods and 1 period, 2 period, but you don't go that 3rd period if somebody wins 2 of them. So. It is exciting. I think this kid from Illinois, though, definitely has a lot better position at this time than Beasley. I don't think he's as well versed in this sport, in Greco. And, the thing is, if these kids keep embracing all 3 styles, they'll get better at each style, too, in my opinion.
I believe it was a 5-0 first period for Brooks of Illinois. First things first here for Beasley, get on the board.
Yeah, I mean, he's got it. He's got an over and under position. See, he's leaving his hips way back, and that's where he needs to bring these in and drop down and catch that shoulder on the side where he's draping over the top of the arm. And see, there, he's got it. Boom, nice. The kid from Illinois hit a nice body lock. So, I mean, the kid's just a lot better, I think, than Beasley is right now in this sport. I mean, I can see that. I think he's a superior athlete to him. He's keeping better position than him. I mean, he had an opportunity to throw. Instead, he's thrown. It's throw or be thrown when you step in and make the decision. He actually initiated the throw, and the Illinois boy took advantage of it.
1-0 Brooks over Beasley, 1:15 here in the second period. And here we go with Brooks. Just expect him to, he's taking his risks, probably going to stand tight, maintain position, and get out here with the W. That's been the game plan for success for this Illinois team.
Yeah, and you can see it. I mean, he's getting better position. Flip, he just bailed. I call that a bail. I actually don't think he slipped at all. So, but, I mean, I know the sport. That's why it cracks me up about some of these refs. I don't know how many of them have actually really wrestled, but sometimes I'm going, wow, how can you think that that's even a move, you know? But he bailed on that one. But, you know, still only 1-0. He's still got an opportunity here. 27 seconds, he's got to do it. We'll see. Let's see what kind of guts he has, what kind of heart, whether or not he really wants this, because this is what's real important, is whether or not he's going to attempt to move or not, because it's not going to hurt him to get scored on again. He just needs to attempt to throw something.
Beasley right now trying to get on the board. If he does get on the board, he'll take the period. But you look at Brooks right there and just so solid in his position. And Beasley unable to get past the hands of Brooks. And Illinois just flexing its muscle and just showing its strength in Greco. And Brooks over Beasley, 5-0, 1-0. And now Illinois just pulling away. And again, they've just done a phenomenal job, and in their state, you look at all levels in both Greco and freestyle. And talking to those guys from Illinois, they really, when the folk style season is over, they turn the page and they go right into freestyle and Greco. That's where 100% of the focus is, and you like that mentality.
Yeah, I think that, we want to embrace our own style in the United States. I mean, NCAA and high school style, I don't think we should throw that away. But whenever you're done with those two, we need to be competing for Olympic titles and world titles as a team, too, overseas. And in Greco and freestyle, we started dominating in the 80s. I wish we would have kept that domination, but it's kind of down. But who knows? We can come back. I mean, I really believe we've got some major strides right now happening in our sport in America. And at the high school level, you can see it because the clubs are getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I think we can do some elite things because of what the MMA and the UFC's created for us. If we can get a similar stage and get things going, I mean, it's going to be exciting. I think this sport will continue to grow. I know there's a lot more people saying, hey, I want to learn how to grapple so I can fight. Sure. So, I mean, that's what they're coming to me with. I mean, how old are you? I'm 18 years old. I wrestled for 2 years. I want to learn how to grapple a little bit better because I can beat these guys, but yet if they get me down, I'm in trouble. So, in other words, and grappling skills, remember, I mean, you're looking at jiu-jitsu and judo and these other sports that Brazilian jiu-jitsu, they think they control the mat. No, they don't. Now, they do control arm bars, but we know how to do them too. Of course, I understand it too because I'm a third-degree black belt in judo. But at the same time, I mean, really, if you just keep your arms in and understand your position, I guess what are these guys' names now?
Here we got for Michigan, Payne Hayden here at 195. He's from St. John's. This last year, he was 43-7. Placed a few times in the Michigan State tournaments, multiple freestyle and Greco state titles. And who do we have here for Illinois, Don?
We've got Taylor McGiffin. He's placed a couple times in the state of Illinois from Alton High School. He was a junior freestyle All-American last year. He'll be wrestling for Campbell University this fall.
Hayden for Michigan and McGiffin for Illinois. And Illinois up by 10, 29-19.
Yeah, and it looks like the Illinois kid must have banged his eye. St. John's, that's the same place Mass is from, I guess. And so
yes.
It's a pretty good. I mean, they produce a lot of good kids out of there. They've got a good club, just like that Detroit Catholic Central Club. So, I mean, it's a middle state, right above Lansing, Michigan, and The kid from Illinois seems to be pretty powerful kid. We'll see what happens here. Keeping pretty good position. I mean, once again, if you look at now, this Michigan kid seems to pummel a little bit more, staying inside a little bit more. So we'll see what happens in this match. I think it's a little bit closer. Now, Michigan still have a chance here. I mean, as far as score-wise, we're down by 10.
They're in a tough spot, but they got Kuhn, who arguably the best guy here any weight class at 285. He's as good as it gets. So, I mean, he's a pinner, obviously, but a lot of pressure here, at 195 and 220. It's never over till it's over, as they say. And in this sport, expect the unexpected. But Illinois, too, right now, knowing that, I mean, I just admire their just fundamentals. I mean, you watch these Illinois guys wrestle, and I know talking to them last year, they wrestled Wisconsin in the final, and I was talking to one of the coaches, and he said, we're not going to be, compared to that Wisconsin team a year ago, it's not a bunch of guys that come out and a lot of fireworks and the 5-point moves, but we are just workmanlike and maintain good position. It might not ooh and eye and, might not be super exciting, but I think especially a guy like you can appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. I mean, they're keeping good position. This is going to be interesting. I mean, this kid seems to be better. The Michigan kids seem to be keeping better position. This kid's trying to tie up and set up a gut wrench. He's got the gut wrench. The main thing here is he's got to move. The Michigan guy's got to be moving, trying to attempt to break those hands without looking back, though. And he's keeping good position. I mean, he really is. He's got. It seems to be no pressure. The kid on top has no pressure yet. Until he can pull him on top of him and kind of load him, I call it, driving the car, he ain't going to turn him. He hasn't.
So that's big for Michigan. Payne Hayden takes the period 1-0. And I just think it's fun when you watch these, duels. You can sit back. It's two really good teams. It's for a national championship, and I mean, you can look at 100 different situations and go, if this, if that. I mean, it's the difference between winning and losing it's pretty fine line.
Especially with the rules the way they are today. I mean, I think you're right. The rules are they make it a fine line because, see, I mean, I think back how many times I was behind by 6 and came back. I mean, shoot, I've been behind by 12 or 14 points and came back and won matches. So, when it's a cumulative score, it's a little bit different than right now. So it's a much more tactical game today. And that's why I say you don't have those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moves to get one. You're attempting a few things, and that's it. Because you got push-outs. See, this kid's about to push him out. He's got good position on him, the Michigan kid. Oh, good job. And the Illinois kid came back real strong. So this will be an interesting match right now. I really think the kid from Michigan's keeping a lot better position this time. Yeah, this kid seems to be strong. The Illinois kid is very, very strong boy. So, but he's keeping good position, snap down position, keeping him a little bit more motion. He's not standing still. Seems to be really racking him pretty hard on the head. So if he can get to his underhook, he needs to get back to his underhook. He was really strong in the underhook position.
And I haven't seen this guy from Michigan here, but he might be content going right to parterre. If he's confident, from the top position, having won that first period 1-0. 43 seconds, so 13 away from parterre.
I don't understand what they just did. Maybe saying keep your head up or something, which is what they used to do, but I don't think that's a rule now, so I don't know what she stopped him for, but I do think it's going to go to parterre right now. He's just keeping too good a position, the Michigan kid is now. This kid knows a little bit more about position, so it's interesting. The other guys that were reaching over, coming over the top, this kid does tie the head a lot, but we'll see. Now let's see if he can turn. So this is an important part here. He seems to be confident. He goes right into the gut wrench position. Yeah, he seems to be a little bit more torque. He's going to turn him.
Got it.
So, yeah, I think that he's a lot better at Greco. He's going to temp a push out. Now he just needs to battle, hold on, dig, keep his inside position. This Illinois kid's got to see what he's got, whether or not he's going to attempt something. He's got to attempt something.
Yeah, nothing to lose right here, but not going to happen as Michigan gets a big win from Payne Hayden here at 195 pounds, and hope remains alive for Team Michigan as they get to 3 points at 195, gives us a team score of 29-22 as we head to 220 pounds for Michigan at 220, Brian Morin. He's from Fowlerville. He'll be a senior. This last year was 4th as a junior at 2:15 for Michigan. And at 2:20 down for Illinois, who do we got?
We've got Mike Swider from Wheaton North High School. He'll be wrestling at Wheaton College next year for two-time Olympian Jim Grunwald.
Anytime I hear Jim Grunwald, I just think back to those great battles with him and Dennis Hall, two Wisconsin guys where I'm from. Proud of their accomplishments. Those two, they get after it. You see those two, you're going to see a fight.
You bet, and I'm not kidding you. There's so many, in Greco, you do see a fight every time. I mean, it's like a battle up top, upper body. Freestyle is a little bit different, more, can attack the legs, and it's good technique though too. But Greco's a little bit more of a beast type sport in my opinion. You've got to bow up, and you're putting it in position. Look at this. You're seeing this kid right here from Illinois. Really, he's got a real good 2-on-1 position. We'll see what this kid from Michigan can do, but he's keeping better position than. But this kid hanging on that arm, it gets tiring. He needs to get inside position with that arm. He should try to underhook that side. Needs to try to attempt to underhook on the right side if this kid continues to drape his arm, because he'll wear that arm down. Trying some drags, sitting back. Look at the difference in the Illinois kid's hips versus the Michigan kid's hips right now. Right now I think the Illinois kid, in my opinion, has better position. And there you see it. He pushes him out.
Illinois up by 7. And on those middleweights, they went on that nice little run, and they were able to keep Michigan off the scoreboard. And, every point's going to be big. And, when it's all said and done, I think Illinois in those middleweights, that might prove to be the difference.
Yeah, I mean, if this kid doesn't come through, I think they're out of it, right? So
yeah.
So if they're out of it, then this kid's got to come through and attempt. No, he's making some efforts here. Every time he drapes that arm up and he goes to the 2-on-1, see, it's tough. Those coaches are going to have to tell him, quit reaching onto the head, because that's what he's doing. He's just peeling it off from his head and going 2-on-1 position. Right now, this kid's really got the skates on, though. I think it's too early for him to put the skates on. Michigan all they need to do is score 1 point here, and they'll win that tiebreaker.
Short time, just 15 seconds.
Yeah, he's reaching again. You can see it. His hips are back. The kid's from Illinois. Hips are in. 2-on-1, just trying to keep position, staying in good position, and basically stalling. That's basically what he did.
Illinois gets the period 1-0. So, Andre, what are you doing right now? What's next for you?
Well, right now I'm helping the Olympic team, the Greco Olympic team, and helping coach them, and then I help the girls too a little bit, the freestyle team. But next for me, I've got a lot of different things I'm doing. So, I want to help to promote this sport and help Greco and freestyle to advance in America, and then I got some other things that I'm doing with some gym. We invented a workout training ball. It's basically a 3-piece equipment ball that I worked out in whenever I was training, and it's safe and things like that. So I do things like that, and I'm training a lot of fighters right now. I've got about 4 or 5 fighters that I'm helping, and we'll see how they do. They're just starting. Some of them are starting out, and then the guy from Tennessee asked me to come out there and do some things for them. So we'll see. I've got, my kids are all grown. One of them just played in the nationwide tournament, and nice. The Michigan kid just scored. And really, that should have been 2. I don't understand how they only gave 1. And now I don't know about what just happened, but it's the way it is, I guess.
I've always said every time I, watch a Greco or freestyle match, I'm trying to pick something up, but you get a little bit confident. You think you're coming around learning the rules and learning how it scores, and then all of a sudden it just humbles you, and you kind of shrug your shoulders, and like you said, all you can do is just move on, and it is what it is.
It is, but I'll tell you what, I'm not so sure I don't know the rule what just happened. I really honestly think when somebody rolls across their back, you should give 2 points. I don't know any rule that states, so I think that was just what's called a bad call. So, but at the same time, it's the way it is. So, it is what it is, and in freestyle or Greco-Roman, we're accepting those things, and we need to start evaluating these referees. In my opinion, they've got to be evaluated so that they understand where they are and what grade they're getting, because somebody may think that they're doing a great job by doing certain things and they're not, or somebody may think, boy, I'm not a real, I don't get out there and make a lot of things happen. Well, that's what we want. We want a lot of action from the wrestlers, not from the referees.
1-0. Michigan, 45 seconds here in this second period. Illinois got the first period. Michigan trying to hang on and get the second period, force a third period, and keep themselves with a chance to win this thing against Illinois.
Yeah, you see what just happened. The Illinois kid's trying to shuck him, but he quit. Now he got back into it, but he quit doing the 2-on-1. He's going to try to shove him out here, and he's going to score. He goes 3.
Oh, and he goes feet to back for 3, and that might be nail in a coffin there for Illinois.
Yeah, unless the Michigan kick in seconds. That was a huge mistake on the Michigan kid's part. He's tired, though. You can see and the referee cost him 3 points. I mean, if you really look at it, there should have been 3 points given. So I do think that was a very poor call on her part. If you go back and watch the film, it's very easy to see it. But there's nothing you can do about it. And it's the way it is in our sport. We learn to accept those things and go on. You got to learn to beat the referee. But I think that they need to be evaluated. That girl should be evaluated.
Congratulations to Illinois. Once again, your Greco-Roman national champions as they lead it 32-23. And here at 285, here's one of those kids that's worth the price of admission, and Adam Kuhn from Fowlerville, 50-0 season. Man, 3-time state champion, 50-0 this year. He was 56-0 last year, and as a freshman, state champ at 215 with a record of 51-3, and all kinds of national accolades here for Kuhn. Who do we got? Don at 285.
Well, before we get to our guy, I was actually the team leader at the Cadet Worlds in Hungary last year and watched Adam Kuhn win a freestyle world medal. And our guy, Josh Marchak, state champ from Illinois, junior All-American in both Greco and freestyle last year, and he'll be heading out west to wrestle for Stanford.
Nice. That's where Gorelli's. Is Gorelli at Stanford? Okay.
So has anybody stayed in Illinois? That's what I want to know. Did anybody stay in Illinois?
Richards, we talked about him before, Zane Richards.
Zane Richards and our 160-pounder Engelkeys is going to Northern Illinois.
All right, cool. Well, that's good. I'll tell you what just happened there. We can't, of course, replay this, but whoever saw the video, you'll see that really should not have been 2 points. The kid from Illinois attempted an arm spin. He stopped him, but he didn't stop him really. So that was another time that I think that things like that the ref doesn't understand who made the move, or maybe he does, and I don't know. But I'm not trying. I'm just saying that it should be looked at and say, do you understand what happened here? And then they will understand the next time. Yeah, oh, I didn't realize he hit an arm spin. You mean, how long do I give him for an arm spin? The kid that hits an arm spin and you give up 2 points? I mean, I don't know.
30 seconds. Kuhn leading it 2-0.
Now he's got good position. That kid, Kuhn, you can see. Look at how his hips are in. He's keeping good position. He's going to underhooks. He's not going over. Staying inside even when he ties the head. He stays inside. He circles, controls position. Now he's backing his hips up a little bit because he wants to stay in. He knows he's got 4 seconds left. All he wants to do is win this period, and he's got it done.
And Kuhn gets it done 2-0. He had a big win to ice it for Michigan against Stoll of Minnesota, but Stoll knew he needed a pin. I just looked down all of a sudden and saw that Stoll was on his back, but I'm sure, different strategy when the duel's on the line. You got to take some risks that maybe, otherwise you might not if it was a, individual competition like in Fargo, for example. But, this kid, 285, look at this guy.
Yeah, and it is. He's going to be tough. You can tell. He's very confident. I think the Illinois kids are pretty dang tough, too. I do think if like you talk about Minnesota's got an excellent storm program. Dan Chandler up there has been doing it for years, and the other coaches there that are doing a great job. The Minnesota Storm, and they key in on Greco-Roman, and then you've got Minnesota, University of Minnesota up there with their program. So I think Minnesota's doing a real good job. I don't know what are they for third and fourth in this competition? Is that what they do?
Minnesota wrestling Wisconsin on the mat next to us for third place.
Yeah, Yeah, so they, I mean, there's some good programs up in the north, and you're seeing, like we just talked about, I mean, Illinois, whether or not they're going to stay in the state. Michigan, same thing. I mean, I left the state, went to Oklahoma. Michigan doesn't nearly have schools that are competing, and why would you go to Michigan or Michigan State at this point? Although I think Michigan, you know, I mean, I love Joe McFarland. I think he's a great guy. We'll see what they do this year.
Yeah, I think it was big for them last year. They bring in Sean Bormet and Donnie Pritzlaff, and I think you're going to see them before long be right in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, if they do their job and the coaches work on what they need to work on and develop those kids, because, you know, this sport, a lot of people think that it's all about going out and just recruiting. It's not just that. When you get kids and you start that kind of almost like a momentum factor where you build a core, it's incredible what can happen. That's what happened at the University of Oklahoma when I was there. I mean, we built a core of athletes that just kept getting better and better and better and reached a different level than anybody else at that particular time. So, and some of them stayed back, but we were even grabbing the people that really didn't want to wrestle much freestyle and Greco. And keep in mind, I was wrestling 60 to 80 matches to 100 matches a summer, you know, even during college. I mean, I've got over 1,850 wins. I mean, that's a lot of matches.
Well, Andre, thank you so much. This one's going to be a final here as Kuhn's going to take it 3-0. He'll take the match at 285. Thank you so much for spending some time with us on the broadcast, and best luck to you.
Thanks.
Thank you
really
much.
Appreciate you.
Andre Metzger. Some good knowledge. Always good when you can talk to a guy that's got the experience that he's had over the years, and appreciate him stopping by. And thanks to Don Reynolds of Illinois for helping us out. 32-26, good duel. But in the end, a little bit too much of Illinois, as once again they are the Junior Greco National Champions here in Oklahoma City. Thank you so much for joining us. Want to thank Jason Bryant back in Colorado Springs for helping us out, and everybody that's helped made this championship broadcast possible. Once again, the final score from Oklahoma City, Illinois 32 and Michigan 26. Congratulations to Illinois, your 2012 Greco-Roman National Champions. We'll have freestyle kicking off tomorrow. Join us for that championship broadcast that is slated for this Saturday evening at 7 o'clock. From Oklahoma City University, I'm Shane Sparks saying so long. This has been a presentation of themat.com.